Dear audience, we have a couple of more sessions before the lunch break. Moving on to the next session, would like to welcome Dr. King Chong, Educational Development Manager, Teaching and Learning Center, Lingnan University, Hong Kong, China. As usual, formal introduction of King Chong and his talk will be presented by the session chair. For that matter, I would like to welcome and request the chair, Dr. Mohammad Tafajul Islam, Professor, Department of Biotechnology, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Agricultural University, Bangladesh, to conduct the session. Let's welcome Professor Dr. Mohammad Tafajul Islam. Sir, please, the virtual floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anisur Rahman, for nicely introducing me. I am really excited and feel honored to be here in this very timely symposium on transition for traditional to outcome-based education call for the hour. And we had very exciting 3 sessions in the morning, and a current session is going to deliver a talk on outcome-based education, the experience of Lingnan University. And we have a distinguished speaker, Dr. King Chong. Good afternoon, Dr. King Chong, and good morning to all Bangladeshi participants, Honorable Vice Chancellor, distinguished panelists, distinguished faculties, as well as all scholar participants. I hope the current session, OBE, outcome-based education, is very, very important issue for Bangladesh, because we are heading to adopt this technology in our public and private university. Before I invite Dr. King Chong, I would like to briefly introduce his biography. Dr. King Chong did a PhD degree from the School of Management, University of Surrey in UK. He possesses over 15 years of professional experiences in quality assurance and quality enhancement of higher education. He actively participated in the development of a quality assurance mechanism, developing the Hong Kong Qualification Framework, HKQF. Dr. Chong also has substantial experiences in promotion of outcome-based approach to teaching and learning. I think Dr. Chong is ready to deliver his speech, and I welcome him to deliver his very exciting talk. And Dr. Chong, please, it is now your time, and you have 40 minutes time for the presentation, and then I am expecting, like other session, 10 minutes time for interactive discussion and question. Welcome to Dr. King Chong.
Sure, thank you. And may I use my own slide? May I share the screen with you, or use? Oh, yes, I can share my screen. So, yeah, let me have give you some time. Give you some time. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm just very quick. I want to share my screen. Sorry, I cannot find the screen. Oh, yeah. Sorry for keep you waiting, and let me cannot do it. Can you see the screen here? Excuse me.
Yes, we can see it very clearly.
Sure.
Thank you.
And give me I cannot. Okay, I think let me start it, and perhaps I cannot use the. So I cannot use a screen show because I'd like to use a screen show, but I cannot use it now. Yeah, that's any problem with my PC on? Let me have a look. Okay, sorry. I think there are some problem in the screenshot. I just stopped because of time. And also Professor Islam and the distinguished guests and speakers and colleagues from EW and from Bangladesh. And it's my great honor and pleasure and the privilege to share the experience from Lingnan University, Hong Kong, China, about the adopting the outcome-based education. Okay, so my name is Chong. I'm the Educational Development Manager at the Teaching Learning Center. Main purpose is to promote the outcome-based teaching and learning in Lingnan University. So my outline is that I would like to share with you the context of adopting the outcome-based education in Hong Kong, China, and also to share the experience of Lingnan University, Hong Kong. And then finally, I will share the lesson and the reflection from our experience, okay? And here, I still like to use screen show, okay? Because screen show is better, but I cannot find it.
All right.
Yeah.
You can go to the slideshow.
Yeah, I want you to slideshow. But I think slideshow, I cannot find it.
If you are at home now, and you have to click on slideshow.
Okay.
Probably you can try pressing F5. That should do the job.
Okay, and yeah, I cannot find it. Oh, it's here? No. Oh, here, yes, sorry. Yeah, so so let me share the first of all the higher education in Hong Kong. You know, it's a long story, a complicated landscape. But I just want to share the classification of the higher education in Hong Kong. Basically, we can classify the higher education in Hong Kong into the public university. That means they all have the self-accrediting status according to law. That means for this university, they don't need to get the external accreditation agency's approval for open any new courses and a program. So we have a university directly funded by government, okay, including our university, and one university is established by government but financial independent. So we call the Open University of Hong Kong. And then other part, we have the self-financing sector. That means they use their own money, own funding, they raise their own funding to open, to run the education and open the courses. So they usually without any self-accrediting status. That means they need the external accreditation agency for approve for launch any new program, courses, even including to raising their status from the tertiary education institution to university. So they usually register under the ordinance. They include the private university. You may heard the Shiyan University in Hong Kong, quite common, a long history. And also recently the new university we call the Hang Seng University of Management. They all have reached a good quality standard. So that's the basic profile of the Hong Kong's higher education sector. So that's useful for us to say the outcome-based education. So in Hong Kong, I think same as the Bangladesh. So we also have as the University Grants Committee is responsible for advising government on the development and the funding, development and funding and for the higher education center to the Hong Kong ACR government. They also need to assure the standard and the cost effectiveness and efficiency of its funded university. Okay. So that's here basically a policy and a regulatory framework in Hong Kong for the higher education. So from this slide, you can see the history. What are these 8 UGC-funded universities? We can see 3 universities they originally established as the university. We have the University of Hong Kong, established in 1911, and Chinese University of Hong Kong, it is established in 1963, and also the newly established one, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, established in 1991. from the right side, we can see there are 5 universities. They established not as a university, but rather a tertiary education institution. Later, they gained a university status. Common time is in the mid-90s. That means before Hong Kong's sovereignty transferred from UK to China. That means in the mid-1990s, Hong Kong's higher education sector has experienced mass expansion, okay, from elite to mass. That usually we have 3 universities. They operate in a small scale. Their quota for degree is very small. So we adopt the elite education in the graduate and the master. But now we have other 5. They're also able to operate as a university, operate a lot of degree program. So that is a mass expansion in our higher education. So the problem is here. So the UGC would like to ensure the teaching and learning process has been ready, okay, for this newly established university. Okay, so those again the university status, but the government still need to ensure the teaching and the learning that there is a quality teaching and learning process, so we can produce the ideal and the desirable graduates, because they are all public funded. So how to do that? They use we call it TLQPR, Teaching and Learning Quality Process Review. So UGC conduct 2 rounds of TLQPR. One is in the 1990, the other one is in the earlier 2000. Okay, the TLQPR emphasizes input and process, not the outcome at that stage. Input and process. What does input and process mean? Input means intention and effort. The first, that means your education mission, your education goal, and your education provision is aligned together. Second one is a procedure and then feedback. That means the QA process, the quality assurance process to maintain the standard and of quality teaching and learning. So as well as the feedback loop, the feedback from students, from faculty member, from alumni, from employer, from mass stakeholder, the procedure and the feedback. Last one is spending and time. That means the cost effectiveness, okay? So that's the aims to ensure there is an internal process maintained to assure the academic standard in terms of program, course design, instructional design, and academic assessment, something like that. The key purpose is to ensure the quality teaching and learning has been taken in place so that we can produce the ideal and desirable graduates to ensure the appropriate spending of public fund, because they're all public fund at university. Okay, and so the result is very desirable. They also see a significant progress of these 8 institutions. They have a robust internal process in developing the quality assurance mechanism. So at that time, the 2005, okay, it's time, the result confirmed, it's time to move to learning outcome, because teaching and learning process direct to the learning outcome. Once the quality teaching and learning process has been ready, so it's time for government to assess outcome. Okay, so we need to assess outcome in a valid and a reliable manner through what? Through the robust evidence collection mechanism. So why I need to say the context? The context for Hong Kong's experience in adopting the outcome base is that the first step, the prerequisite, is to ensure the quality teaching and learning process has taken place before we can ask for them to provide evidence of outcome. Without this first step, it's very difficult. So that's the the experience of whole Hong Kong's higher education sector in adopting outcome-based education. So I'd like to first share this with our colleagues here, share our experience. Or then I go to, so of that, so it's a natural process. When you finish the process of quality teaching and learning, it's naturally for you to move from the output. I mean, shift to output, the goals and ends, product, and the result. Okay, so when you finish the quality assessment, the input and the process, it's time to shift to output, goals and ends. And also we can see in the 1980s and 1990s, so there is a global call for the outcome-based initiative. So my next slide will show you what's a global call. So the government process is not only it's the natural process, not for internal. We finish the process. then we move to outcome. But also the natural is a positive responses to the worldwide trend in the higher education sector, emphasizing on the student learning outcome. So that at that time, the UGC called for adopting the outcome-based approach, outcome-based approach to student learning in 2005. So in Hong Kong, we officially start the OBE or OBATL. So in Hong Kong, we have different jargon. Official is the broad umbrella is the OBE, outcome-based education. Some university will call outcome-based, outcome teaching and learning. Some university will call outcome-based to teaching and learning and assessment. But all means outcome-based education. But they use different jargon and different terminologies. Okay. So that slide shows the major contemporary outcome-based initiative worldwide. The first of all, in US, because the OBE is originated from the Spanish OBE theory. So in US, that will be for US and South Africa and Australia. And in European Union, they call for the Bologna process. How to do it? They also call for development a compatible qualification framework across all EU. They emphasize of a common set of the ability, knowledge, process, and the skill that a graduate should achieve at a different level of qualifications. That's EU. And in UK, same. Though in UK, same. They call for they adopt the subject benchmark because QAA, Quality Assurance Agency, use the subject benchmark and program specification to accredit the university in UK. In Australia, they use the graduate attributes concept. Okay, and also. And so no problem because I have sent my slide to EW. They can share with you on their website, no problem. So for the assessment, in US, they adopt the assessment approach. Okay, so it emphasize on the both direct assessment and indirect assessment. Direct assessment is on the actual performance of student. Indirect assessment is on the student's learning experience. Both are important. That's in US. In Hong Kong, as I said, adopt the outcome-based approach to student learning. And for professional body, I think also other distinguished speakers said, for the professional degree, the professional body also will conduct the outcome-based approach for the professional standard to see whether the professional program like engineering, like accountancy, like medical program can achieve the desirable outcome. So the outcome-based approach is a worldwide trend in higher education sector, not just Hong Kong. Hong Kong, we respond both. We finish the assessment process, the input, then we move to outcome. We also see a positive response to the worldwide trend. Okay, so that's the whole background for our university adopting outcome-based education. So first of all, give me a few minutes to introduce our university. We are one of 8, the public funded university in Hong Kong. So we are the liberal arts university in Hong Kong, and should have the longest established history and tradition among other education institutions. Okay, we emphasize liberal arts. So I will explain what does liberal arts means. Okay, so here is a broad history for our university. Actually, we established in mainland China in Guangzhou about 100 years ago, and in 1888. And because of Civil War, we moved to Hong Kong under the name of Lingnan College in 1967. Then in around the 1980s, because of the mass expansion to higher education, so we gained the grant from government with a land to establish a campus in Tuen Mun, as in new territory. So we moved to new campus in 1995. And we gained the university status that Lingnan University is a self-accrediting university, one of 8 public universities in Hong Kong. So we can open any program without the approval, no need approval for external accreditation agency. So we have the self-accrediting status. That's very important to us, okay? So, and then after almost more than 1 decade development, and a constant effort among our senior management, our faculty member, our students, and our alumni and other stakeholders, we achieved a great achievement. We attained a great achievement. We are named, the Lingnan University is named one of the top 10 liberal arts college in Asia by Forbes. Okay, in 2017, we celebrate the 15th years anniversary of re-establish of Lingnan University in Hong Kong, moving back to the 1967. Okay, and okay, so that's the broad history of our university. There's some photo to show the situation in different era. The 1910, okay, just the 100 years ago, or I mean the collapse of Qing dynasty, we established in Guangzhou, and I mean, yeah. Then we moved to we moved to Hong Kong in 1667, and we moved to Tunmun. Our situation in the 1987 is nowadays the last picture is you can see the color picture is our current campus in Hong Kong. Okay, so we said that we emphasize on the liberal arts education. What does liberal arts mean to Lingnan? Because US, we have a lot of courage also emphasize on the liberal arts. In Asia, there is also a movement emphasizing on the liberal arts education. What does liberal arts education mean to Lingnan University? First of all, we emphasize on the broad-based curriculum. We emphasize on solid foundation of knowledge before students can choose a major, the first one. And also we particularly emphasize on the close staff and student relationship. Our class is usually very small. Our class usually have 20 to 25 students, okay? And also for the large class, the 50 to 100, we usually is a common core classes, not for the major program. And we also have other important characteristics. We are the only one university in Hong Kong can provide 4-year full residential education, full residence for the 4-year degree program to all students. So that's a very important and characteristics. Okay, for others, we also have a very rich global experience. For example, 87 of our undergraduate students can gain the overseas experience. Others stay a short term or even 1 year overseas. So that's a very important characteristic of our liberal arts education. So I don't want to repeat because our focus is on OBE. Okay, and so we also achieved we have attained a great achievement in this year, 2020. We ranked second worldwide for quality education in the latest Time Higher Education THE ranking for this year. The announcement is made by April 2020, okay? So that's all the history of our university. So, you know, in Hong Kong University, in Australia, in Asia, in mainland China even, a lot of university adopt outcome-based education, but different university will adopt based on their different situation and different attributes. So what does outcome-based education mean to Lingnan University? So I would like to share our experience with you. The first of all is learning outcome. It's outcome-based education, it's learning outcome, okay? We need to define clearly what students should be able to do on completing their study at the university, program and the course, and also at the activity level. So at each level, activity means curricular, core curricular and extracurricular, and the course level or module level or subject level, it will mean same thing. And the program level and the university level, we all articulate clearly the learning outcome that students need to achieve upon a completion. That's the first one. The second one is we design the curriculum and match and map the teacher learning and assessment to enable students to achieve that intended learning outcome. So we align together. Then after delivery, okay, after delivery of course and program, we will collect evidence to ascertain how well, whether or not, and how well our students have achieved the learning outcome. That's very important because we just a delivery. We never conduct the assessment. This does not mean the outcome-based education truly take place in our university. So we need to conduct the evidence to see whether or not they achieve or cannot achieve. If they achieve, how well, how well. So that's a very important thing. And last one, the data tell us we need to use data to inform the curriculum change. So that's a whole loop, called the outcome-based education loop in our university. Okay, so as I said, our experience in Lingnan University in adopting the outcome-based education means the synergistic integration between the quality assurance, both quality assurance of OBE and quality enhancement of OBE. So we effectively develop the OBE. We rely on both quality assurance and quality enhancement. Both parts are essential part, are indispensable part. So first of all, I share the experience about the quality assurance. Okay, so quality assurance means first of all the curriculum development and the course and the program level, and the second one is a criterion-based assessment. So teacher need to design their curriculum according to design principle, which I will share with you all in the next slide, and establish the criterion to ascertain the student have achieved the outcome, and they need to make compliance. We need to collect evidence, and also we need to conduct all evidence we put into the annual program review. So they need to conduct the outcome assessment in the annual program review to see how outcome has been achieved. Okay, and first of all, we need to equip our teacher with a common understanding what our OBATL means. In Lingnan, we use the term, we use a more concise term we call it OBATL, outcome-based approach to teaching and learning. So I think very simple. We focus on outcome come out. We focus on what students come out from program, course, and activity, rather than teacher want to teach. We focus on the ability, achievement, and skill of the student, not what teacher want to teach, not the subject topic, not the content, not the syllabus, but rather what student can achieve. So what do teacher intend that teacher to be able to do after completion? So all teacher need to know the simple concept, the outcome the teacher intends student to attain and demonstrate. We call it intended learning outcome. So that's for the course development, course design, course development, and the assessment of student performance. All focus on the intended learning outcome. Okay, and we will require or motivate or encourage our our teacher when they design it as a program, at least at the program level, not course level, because course level is quite narrow. At the program level, they need to design at least 3 categories of outcome. Okay, what 3 categories are? The first of all is knowledge level. What do students know in terms of general knowledge? I mean, the breadth. Okay, means the comprehensive core curriculum, and also the specialized field, the knowledge of specific field. That means depth. Means disciplinary knowledge. So that's at the cognitive level. So knowledge means cognition, the cognitive level. The second outcome is the skill outcome. What can students do? Because employer, when they hire student to workplace, they need student immediately is able to execute a task. So what student can do? So the second outcome is skill outcome. So this means generic competence. That means there are a generic set of competence. For example, analytical skills, problem-solving skills, creativity, critical thinking, okay, communication. They are all the generic skills. No matter what discipline, students need to have such skills and teamwork. We also have the professional and occupational skill. For example, the BBA program, the marketing, counseling, and the selling program. So that's the professional and occupational skill. Okay, that's the skill level. But to us, the most important outcome may not be the knowledge, may not be the skill, but rather the affective outcome. Because which affective outcome can truly motivate our students to achieve the knowledge outcome and the skills outcome. Why? Because because the affective outcome can inspire the student to do what they need to do, they want to do. For example, the attitude, integrity, personal goals, aspiration, general attitude towards self-development, and attitude towards others. With such effective outcome, they can push them to attain the knowledge and the skill outcome. So of course, we emphasize 3. So when we ask our teacher to design a program, as for example, the most important is undergraduate program, we require them to design the learning outcome into 3 levels, 3 categories: knowledge, skills, and outcome. They should have. So student will have a balanced development. Okay, and also we give you some example. At the institution level, okay, for undergraduate, top postgraduate, including the top doctorates, and also the research postgraduate, they all have a set of institutional learning outcome. We call the graduate attributes. What does institutional learning outcome mean? That means no matter, that means a common set of ability and a transferable and a generic skill set students need to achieve no matter their major. They study arts, they study business, they study social science, they still need to achieve common set of ability and common set abilities and a transferable and a generic skill. That means they can transfer the skill directly from university to workplace. So I have a link, I have a website here. So you can key into, you can see our university established the institutional learning outcome at all level. Okay, so because of time, I need to, so that's an example for program level. I'll give you 3 examples for the program level. Okay, so that the first one is the DBA. So they can apply the interdisciplinary level knowledge. And then for the master level, for example, the program outcome reflect critically on the social cultural factors. Okay, I cannot see the slide. Sorry. Yeah, affected. And that's my last one is also master program. They develop the theoretical and practical skills. So I'll just give you example because time is quite limited. So, okay. So, and we can use the Bloom's taxonomy and solo taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is the developed by Professor Bloom. We also use the solo taxonomy. They all use this action verb, okay, to help a teacher design and develop the learning outcome, okay. And so regarding the I think the how to design the curriculum, we have a clear concept of we use the constructive alignment. So what does constructive alignment mean? Constructive means the educational theory, constructivism. That means knowledge is constructed by active participation of learner. Alignment means what? Means the matching and the mutual support of what? Intended learning outcome and teaching learning activities and also assessment method. Because intended learning outcome means destination. Where do we intend our student to arrive? Teaching learning activity means the path. How do we intend our student to arrive? The last one is assessment method. Do we know, not just us as a teacher and the faculty member, do our students know their arrival? So that's so when we when we require our student to, our teacher to design their course, design a program, we ask them to use constructive alignment, a generic design principle to design their courses, okay? So there's a video you can access to YouTube, so I don't broadcast here, about John Briggs' constructive alignment theory. So we display this diagram. We call it micro framework of OBATL. Okay, for a teacher when they design their courses and program. The first questions they need to ask themselves: what do I know about my students? Their strengths, their weaknesses, their attributes. For example, our students are usually the digital native. They like graphics, they like game, they like activities. All are their common characteristics we need to address and incorporate when we design our course and design our learning outcome. So, and the second question we require or request our teacher to ask themselves: what do I need our student to learn? First one learn is the graduate attributes. That means the university learning outcome. The second one is program outcome. The last one is your own expertise, because our faculty member get a PhD and other qualification from other university. They have a lot of knowledge to be shared with the students. So that's what the student can learn from depths of their knowledge. Okay. The third question is that what and how do I intend our student to experience? So learning experience is very important, because learning outcome is the result of the learning experience after finish a set of teaching learning activities. Okay, so learning experience is should be equivalent to learning outcome. The learning outcome to analyze, the learning outcome to evaluate should be totally different from the learning outcome to identify. So we need to ask our teacher to think about, we need to promote the active classroom, because different courses have different characteristics, but commonly we request our teacher to promote the active classroom or active learning. What does active learning mean? Means first of all, we need to enable our students to think. because all high order thinking, all high order knowledge and thinking skill coming from thinking, we should enable students to do a task, because the majority of knowledge retained in our memory is not from the watching, not from listening, not from reading, but rather from doing something. And we also promote the student collaboration, because in our job, in our workplace, the collaboration among the colleagues, among the different staff is very common. So we need to promote the collaborative learning, and learning, the knowledge is constructed by the active participation for all learners, because they actively participate, they interpret the knowledge together, and they form the new knowledge. And last one is the learning should be proceed beyond the classroom, okay? And all these contexts, thinking, doing, collaboration, and beyond classroom should be in the context of the authentic learning environment. That means the learning and teaching should be related to real life experience. So the last one, the teacher need to ask themselves is, how do I know our students have achieved? That means through assessment. So perhaps when we discuss with our teacher about the some learning outcome, we need to ask your teacher, when you design a learning outcome, you need to ask yourself, how do you assess before you design the teaching learning activity? That's most important. How do you assess? How do you require your student to demonstrate the achievement? So the first step is the learning outcome design. Afterwards, you need to ask yourself, how do you assess? Okay, so that's the micro framework. Okay, that's a generic template. Okay, teacher need to demonstrate. They need to clearly write down their learning outcome by using the action verb. Then they need to show their alignment with the teaching learning activities and to the assessment activity. So I use this one, the apply the knowledge and practical skill and the professional social work as example. So that's the learning outcome 1, okay, in these courses about the social work with use. So the teaching and learning activity aligned to this one is to visit a service agency and work with youth. Students will discuss and practical issue with the youth worker in the service agency, and how they should demonstrate. They need to write a reflective journal to apply what they have learned from the workplace into the reflective journal. So all three should be aligned together to apply the principle, the design principle of the constraint alignment. Okay. So, and that's one at the course level, and then they need to.
Chong, you have 3 minutes time left.
Okay, sorry, I need to quickly. That's the course level, and that one is the though the learning outcome is very important. Okay, so we need to establish a criteria to assess how well students need to learn. Okay, so I think we need to establish the criteria reference framework. So that means a rubric. So rubric, we need to rely on a set of predetermined criteria standard. Okay, so we require each course to do so. And so I don't repeat this slide, that we compare non-reference and criteria reference. Non-reference is a curve system. Okay, and they have a predetermined set of grades. But criteria assessment, that means the criteria is the student achievement is purely determined by their achievement, absolute achievement. Okay, that the relationship is very clear. Criteria-based assessment also focus on the outcome. They provide a valid and reliable and fair standard to evaluate student performance. Okay, and criteria is CBA is student-centered, explicit, transparent assessment criteria conveyed to students. Okay, and so that's a typical example of typical prototype of a rubric. We have a criteria, that means dimension to assess. We have a standard, that means level, performance a level. And then we have a descriptor at each level. And the final one is a scale to measure. So here is we use a simple example. Criteria is participation. And the performance level can be satisfactory and marginal plus. Okay. And this descriptor can be, we have provided deep, a clear description about the satisfactory level and the marginal pass. And we can use the 5-point scale, 10-point scale, and the grade. That's an example of rubrics. Okay, so the compliance is that all newly proposed course or revised course should be reviewed on their compliance with OBATL. Our center will conduct such job, and we collect evidence besides the assessment result, we also adopt the institutional survey to collect evidence about how well students achieve the learning outcome. So we have following survey, student learning experience survey, and alumni survey, employer survey, hostel survey. Why we conduct so many surveys? Because each one we collect the evidence from different level, from multifaceted level to form a holistic picture of student achievement of learning outcome. And all the evidence shall be incorporated into the annual program review. And we emphasize, we finish the quality assurance part, not the quality enhancement part. So OBATL requires attention to outcome and equally to the experience, because without experience, we cannot achieve outcome. So how we can enhance student learning experience? We use a series of teaching and learning activities. Each initiative has been adopted. First of all, is faculty development. We have a learning and development program for newly joined faculty member. One unit is about OBATL. We also use a new program we call Total for the teacher to try teach one IO, assess one IO, then for their self-improvement and reflection. And we also adopt the engaging, innovative pedagogy to diversify and amplify student learning experience for their better achievement. For example, big data, e-portfolio, cost responsible system, multimedia, e-resources. They're all the typical example of the innovative pedagogy to diversify and amplify learning experience of students for their better achievement. Okay, in our new strategic plan, we particularly emphasize of the cutting-edge technology to achieve the smart teaching and learning. Okay, and so we require each course to have at least one component of e-learning. Okay, we also set different level of e-learning achievement from the fundamental level to advancement level and to the frontier level. Okay, and also we also adopt different digital tools according to different teaching and learning. Can be for the motivations, they can use the ebooks, notes. For the games, a serious game. For the engagement, they can use classroom response system, Kahoot, you reply, and poll everywhere, and a Mentimeter. And for the self-paced learning, we can use online video, a PowerPoint with a narration. And for the communication, we can use learning management system. So all is this engaging pedagogy for students' better achievement of learning outcome. So I think the quality enhancement is equally important to quality assurance for adopting the OBE. And last one is the lesson, which we draw, can be shared with our Bangladesh colleagues at EW. The first of all, adopt the outcome base is important, but equally important is establish a rigorous and robust criterion-based assessment framework, because outcome should be assessed. And the second one is quality assurance and quality enhancement are equally important. So the learning experience for students should be enhanced for the better achievement of learning outcome. Last one is the outcome should be assessed based on the comprehensive set of evidence, not just for the course assessment result, but also for other part. For example, their learning experience, employer, and alumni, okay, and hostel education to form a holistic picture. Okay, that's my whole part of presentation. Hope I'm not running out of time. Thank you. Yeah. So I hope I do not run out any time. So any question, any feedbacks? If I can answer immediately, I'm happy. If not, I can respond by email to
Officer Islam.
Thank you very much, Dr. King Chong, for sharing a very important concept, outcome-based education, as well as the long experiences of your university, Lingnan University, which was established in 1888. So I appreciate you for sharing very profound experiences. I hope our panelists as well as the participants would ask some of the questions to you. I'm checking some of the questions and share with you.
Sure, no problem.
Yes.
To respond.
There are several questions.
Sure.
One question, let me check. one question: is there any hard line of demarcation between professional and non-professional programs? How do you decide graduate attributes of a non-professional program?
Non-offshore program. Oh, I think our university deliver a few offshore, non-offshore, offshore program. And I think to us, when we design our learning outcome, we go through a very rigorous process. We usually consult the first our students, faculty, and member.
Okay, excellent. There is another question from Dr. Parvez Abbasi, a panelist. Have the job prospects for students from liberal arts that your university is focusing, the background of liberal arts being negatively affected more so than other streams like IT or business sector during the COVID-19?
Oh, I think it should be the crisis management system, and also the how to use. We now emphasize on online collaborative skills for problem solving. So that is a common new skill we now emphasize, because COVID-19 we need to respond to the crisis in all workplaces. How to achieve for a student? What we can do is we encourage the online collaboration, because COVID-19 to all profession, not a local problem, but rather a regional problem. So collaboration is very important. So we emphasize online collaboration for critical and creative thinking, but not just a critical creative thinking, but rather for problem solving. We need to solve the problem, not just for critique is for critique, creativity is for creativity. We need to achieve the problem solving under a multidisciplinary context. So that's, I think, the new skill set we require for all major, not just for business, for all.
Thank you very much. OBE is also called standards-based education.
Yeah.
But it is, framed structure curricula. In that case, how do you assess extra or creativity of the students, which are indicator of the critical thinking of the student? How do you assess extracurricular activities as well as other creative activities outside the framed curriculum?
Yeah, I think for the core curricula and extracurricular, we adopt the service learning. Service learning is our very common core curricular and extracurricular activities. And for service learning, that means students need to provide services for the selected workplace, and we will invite faculty member, okay, and students themselves, peer, and also the employer to collaboratively assess their performance. That may be more authentic. Okay, and also that's for the service learning. For others, I think we need, first of all, we still need to focus on the learning outcome. So for the learning outcome is for creativity. We can use some high-level task-based like project, okay, and the case study. So that's all we can commonly use such method to assess their creativity and critical thinking. So am I answering your question directly? Right.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, sure. Do I will answer your question well, and for how to assess the extracurricular and the co-curricular activity?
I think it's okay. We understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it is now clear. And I have
Sure.
last question I have seen here. What are the major challenges a university will face when newly introduced outcome-based curricula and transform from the traditional curriculum or traditional education system? And how should we cope up with those new challenges?
I understand. And because Lingnan is not the first university among the 8 UGC-funded university and adopt the OBE. We are not pioneer. And faculty members, because we are a liberal arts college, faculty members have reservation in adopting outcome-based education because they seem to be quite paper exercises. Okay, and we need to encourage them because we need to say to them, actually, when you teach a class, you have outcome in your mindset. So all courses should have outcome. So you need to let students to read their mind. When they finish your class, what do you expect them to achieve? That you should have. Now you need to demonstrate implicitly to explicitly from your mind to the paper. So I think we also organize a lot of workshops, a lot of faculty development program, and in collaboration with other universities, and invite other speakers, including Professor John Biggs, a pioneer in OBATL, to give speeches. Okay, and I think that at the first 3 years or several years, we should not demand a mandatory implementation, but rather a smooth acceptance, a smooth development. Different workshop, how to develop rubrics, how to write learning outcome. Okay, and we asked other universities like Hong Kong U, like Baptist University to share the experience with us. So when they familiarize the background and the feature of the OBE, I think they will naturally adopt it. So it's a collaborative.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. King Chong. We are almost over our limited time. And I would like to thank the organizer, Institution of Quality Assurance at East West University. I have been there at that university for 4 years as young faculty. I feel my association very strongly to that university. So I wish success of East West University. Obviously, all the best wishes to Dr. King Chong for a fantastic talk. And thank you very much, all the audiences and participants, panelists, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen for actively participating and listening this
Thank you very much, Professor Islam. Thank you. Distinguished guests here. Thank you so much. It's my great honor and pleasure to present here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Islam, for conducting the session, and thank you, Professor Chong, for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Chong, I would like to hope that the experience of Lingnan University that you have shared with us regarding OBE would be our investment to proceed with force and verve. Thanks again, and I appreciate your presence, Dr. Chong.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.